Hey guys, Howard here with easy blues riffs for beginners or intermediate players, of course. And this is number 8 in the series. And as I've mentioned before, these are designed to be crazy glued together any way you might like to do so. So they share certain similarities, but also different and new things each step of the way. So this one's going to be an F sharp, and it goes like this. Let's dive right into it. You can see the tab on the screen, but let me play it for you nice and slowly. And we've got a couple of hammer-ons in there, and a special note. You can play pretty much this whole thing with straight downstrokes if you want to, but feel free to mix it up if you want to do that as well, okay? So here it is, nice and slow. Play that twice on F sharp, the root, and then we move to the 4 chord. It's simply the exact same pattern, but we're moving it down toward our feet, so to speak, to the A string. And we want to play it one time there, okay? And then come back to the F sharp and play it one time there as well. So we're playing it twice at F sharp, one time at B, by the way, and then back to F sharp one time. And then we move it to the 5 chord, which in this case is C sharp. So once again, it's the exact same pattern, but starting at the 4th fret, again on the A string or the 5th string. And we want to play the first part of the pattern only. Then move back to B at the 2nd fret on the A string and play the second half of the pattern. So between those 2 chords we have and then move it to the root chord again, F sharp. And we play just that much of it again, the first slice of the riff. And then we play the turnaround, which is like so. And I think that's probably the best overall fingering for it. Start with your 2nd finger, then move to your 1st finger on the D string, and then do your hammer on. That's it, okay? So here is the whole thing slowly. first half of it, the first 12 bar go around. And if you're just getting started with this stuff and you want to take a deeper dive, feel free to check out my blues rock guitar course. There's a link to it in the description box below, and I think you'll really enjoy that if you enjoy this lesson, okay? So let's get into the second go around, the second 12 bar blues. It's the same riff, but we're decorating a little bit using some double stops, which means playing 2 strings at a time that outline what the principal chords are. So we're going to have an F sharp 7. You don't have to worry about that in this particular lesson, a B 7, and a C sharp 7. So we're moving the 4 and the 5, the 1, the 4, and the 5, along the 6th string this time around, okay? So this is how we play this part. So the riff starts out the same, but then it goes like this. So this little slide, the double stop, as I just called it, takes the place of the hammer-on, the last hammer-on. So instead of playing this, we play. Okay, and how I'm fretting that is the first fret on the D string, or the 4th string, and then the 2nd fret on the G string, or the 3rd string. And you slide it a half step. Hit both strings at the same time. And again, it just takes the place of that tail end of the riff, that last hammer-on. So we have this. And then we're going to move that exact same riff to the 7th fret, staying with the 6th string. We're playing it up here so that we can incorporate that as well. You could do it here, but as a beginner lesson, I think that's a little bit difficult. So we move it up to the 7th fret and we play the same thing one time. And come all the way back to F sharp and play it one time as well. Want to jump all the way up to the 9th fret and play the first half of the pattern just like we did before. Move back to the 7th fret and play the second half of the pattern. Let's do that again, okay? And then we play. So you can see I came back to F sharp, the root chord, and I played the first half of the riff. And then we want to slip into a C sharp 7 sharp 9 chord. I've used this many times in the previous blues lessons. It's a great chord to master even if you're just getting started. But it's 4th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the D string, 4th fret on the G string, and then 5th fret on the B string. And what I did was I just arpeggiated through the chord. Downstrokes, and then upstroke from the B string. So we've got down, 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 up, up, up. Okay? 3 downstrokes and 4 upstrokes. And then you can just go back to the top, loop it around, and have fun with it, okay? And mix it up however you might like to do it. So there you go with number 8 in the series, Easy Riffs for Beginners and Intermediate Players. And again, if you want to take a deep dive into this, the 12-bar blues and scales and rhythms and how it all works, you can check out my blues rock guitar course. It's in the description box below. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys in the next video. All the best to everyone. Hey everybody, Howard here again with the latest installment of Easy Blues Riffs for Beginners and Intermediate Players. We're back in the key of G for this one. It's a 1-4-5, of course, and it's got a few little twists and turns in it, okay? So I'll play it up to tempo, and then I'm going to play everything nice and slow with the tab up on the screen. So you don't need a lot of explanation on this. Just follow the tab and the visual, and I think you'll fall right into it, okay? So here we go. here's the first riff, nice and slow. Here we go. And we want to play that twice, of course. And then we move it to the 4 chord, which is C in this case. And the riff is slightly different. The very last note doesn't go to the 6th fret. It goes to the 5th fret. We play that one time and bring it back to the root chord, G. Playing it one time as well. And then we move to the 5 chord, of course, which is D. And that's all we play right there. And then we move it back to C and do the same thing. And then we move back to the root again. And we're forming that D7 sharp 9 at the tail end of it. A chord we've used many times in these examples, okay? And you arpeggiate the chord, and then with your pinky slide from 6 to 7 on the B string, and then catch that 7th fret on the G string with your ring finger, okay? So that whole thing nice and slow is like so. Okay, and then we do another 12 bars, which is basically the same, but we just throw in a few little twists and turns, okay? So as you can see, we added the climb up. And we also changed the 5 to the 4 chord. Instead of playing, we play. And then we play our classic ZZ Top type turnaround. And then an F sharp 7, sliding up to the G7 to end it, okay? So there you go with number 9 in the series. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out the previous ones. And when we get to number 10, we'll take number 8, 9, and 10 and throw them into one compilation, okay? See you guys soon, and all the best to everybody. Hey guys, Howard here with Easy Blues Riffs for Beginners. This is number 10 actually in the series. And I would say this one is more for post beginners or intermediate players. But in all my years of teaching guitar, there's many beginners that have surprised me. So if you find it a bit difficult to play, just slow everything way down. Make sure you're playing it correctly and accurately, and then just slowly work your way up to speed, okay? Now this one's a little bit different from the others in this series. For one thing, it's sort of a Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Robin Trower type thing, and it's based on that triplet feel against the quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole thing is based on that triplet feel, okay? So I'll play it for you first up to tempo, and then we'll break it down bit by bit. All right, so let's dive into it. First things first, I'm in standard tuning and I'm running my telly into a Rude Mouse distortion pedal, and that's going direct into my Orange Crush RT20 practice amp, okay? So as I said, this is all based on that triplet feel. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the first thing we want to do is we want to form that E7 sharp 9 chord, classic Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Robin Trower, you name it. That's the chord that we're using, and we start out this riff by playing the open E string, the 6th string, with one triplet, 1, 2, 3. And I'm doing a little bit of muting, as you can hear, and then we hit the chord twice. So we have nice and slow, and then we have this riff, which you can see on the tab. Slowly. All right, and that sustains that fret right there, the 7th fret on the A string, sustains for the 2 first notes of the triplet, if that makes sense. So we want to stay inside that triplet feel. So you can see what I did was I played the riff and then hit that open E string once. Because once again, that note takes up the first 2 strokes of a triplet. So now we have this. Really slowly. And then we have... So I'm sliding with my ring finger from 5 to 7 on the A string. Come back to 5 with your first finger. And then on the 6th string, we're playing 7, 6, 5, tapping into that flat 5 of the blues scale. Right, so now we have... So you can see I came back and just played the first riff just as we did before. All right, and then we're just going to play quarter notes essentially. So from that last note of the riff on the 7th fret on the A string, 2nd fret on the 6th string, the E string, 3rd fret, 4th fret. And that's going to walk us into the 4 chord, which is going to be an A7. But first, let's play all of that slowly. And as I say, that leads us into the 4 chord, the A7. And how I'm forming this is I'm just playing the 5th fret on the D string combined with the 6th fret on the G string, and then incorporating that open A string. So that gives us the root, the major 3rd, and the dominant 7th. And we approach it rhythmically the exact same way. But it's slightly different because you can see I went back and thumped that A string again. That just helps make the A7 sound a little bit bigger. And we do the same riff, just starting on the 5th string. And like I say, it's approached exactly the same rhythmically. We do that real slowly with the tab. Alright, and then leading back to the 1 chord, the E7, we play. So I'm sliding once again from 5 to 7 with my ring finger, but this time on the D string. Back to 5, 7 and 5 on the A string, and then 3 on the 6th string, the E. Okay, so what we have for that A7 now is see we went right back to that E7 riff, but the tail end of it is slightly different because we're walking into or leading into the 5 chord, which is B7. So from that E7, it's going to be like this. Okay, so once again, I'm sliding from 5 to 7 on the A string, 7 on the 6th string, back to 5 on the A string, and then 6 on the E string. And that takes us to the B7. Okay, and the B7 is being formed with your 7th fret on the 6th string, 7 on the D string, and 8 on the G string. And you can see that rhythmically I'm doing exactly what I did on the A7. I'm coming back and hitting that root note of the chord. So real slowly, it's like this. Okay, but rhythmically, this is what's going to happen. Like that, okay? So you can see the tab, but let me do that real slowly as we walk down to the A7 chord, fretted this time. One more time, very slowly with the tab. Okay, and we wind up back at the E7 for that original riff. But we play this. So we do the rhythmic groove on the E7 chord. And then we play. And you can strike that with your 2nd finger if you want. That's probably a little bit better. Alright, so we're hammering on to the 2nd fret on the D string. Then open D string. 2nd fret on the A string, back to the open D string, then 1st fret on the A string. And that walks us into a B7 sharp 9, the exact same shape that we used for the E7, and we just arpeggiate the chord. So we have classic Jimmy Page, right? Just give it a little into an E power chord, or you can start the whole thing over, right? So there you go with number 10 in the Easy Blues Riffs for beginners, and in this case, post beginners and intermediate players. And now that 8, 9, and 10 are done, I will put these into the third compilation, making it easier for you guys to access them and just work your way through the series. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. All the best to everyone. Thanks to everyone who leaves so many wonderful comments and subscribers and all the rest of it. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel, and I shall see you in the next video.